we can discuss it. Yeah, okay, so got it. Now we have the recording, and so it means that you can come back and have a look if you forgot something, but also the presentation will be available in the Moodle site as well. And I'm really happy to assist you about the consideration to establish some business in Hungary. Just a couple of words about myself. As Alexandra told, I work for Corvinus University right now. I used to be a banker at the beginning of my career. So I worked in a corporate bank and financed big companies, small companies, medium-sized companies. So that was the first time, and then I continued, and I became an auditor right now. So what I do is just do the statutory audit for small and medium-sized companies here at the same time when we teach accounting. This department is the accounting and law. So I also asked colleagues to help me in some legal issues, because establishing a business, it's mainly about that. So I think that was the short introduction, and I really would like to ask you to ask questions if something is unclear or you would like to go into deeper. Maybe I am not able to answer immediately, but then I try to look after it, and later on I give you the answer. Just very, very short question. Do you already in a business? I mean, did you already do some entrepreneurship or something, or you are just considering?
I'm just considering about it. So now I'm not having any business.
Not in the middle. What type?
Not in the business.
What type?
I would like to open a dance school in Budapest.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Super.
and it should be something very small. So I thought about opening kata, but I don't know nothing about it. That's why I'd like to know a bit more.
Sure, sure. Esther?
Second. Yes, I'm not really in the business yet, but I have a huge community in Ukraine of plant people, and I would like to establish something with already having people in the community so they can sell plants and swap plants. So I'm thinking of a marketplace, maybe.
Plants, you mean flowers or vegetables?
Yeah, house plants.
House plants, super.
Yes.
Alona?
I have a business in Budapest, but I would like to open a pastry shop in Budapest. I like bakery cake, and I want what Hungarian people and Ukrainian people taste my cake, and I think it's will be very good for me and for Hungarian people and for Ukrainian people who live in Budapest now. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's very nice. Maybe we have Gadna here, but it seems that she is not with picture. Okay, then I think I begin, and then please stop me anytime if you think that you would look for questions. And also please give me feedback if you can see my presentation. So I start to connect the presentation, but I'm not sure whether it will be. Can you see it?
Yes.
But maybe if I do the whole screen. Okay, now still you can see it?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And now if I move, you can also see the next page. No.
No, not yet, no.
Okay, okay, then something goes wrong. So I have to go back, stop sharing. I start again. And I'm sorry. And I do this. And now this is again the front page. And does it move now?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
second?
yeah, it's
Okay, good. So let's begin the story. And this is about mainly the technical issues. I mean, or the legal, accounting, taxation, and all of these stuff that you have to aware of. And my colleagues in the coming weeks, they are coming for marketing and communication department, and they will help you to do some self-branding and business communication. And also they are preparing a personal test for you. I think it would be very interesting and exciting to see what are the strengths, and you can support and go with that. Okay, so let's go into the middle, and now I cannot see you now, I think, but yeah. So please just talk if you have questions, because I don't see you. And Julia is here. Julia? Hello, Julia. Okay, I hope Julia is with us, because there was an admission request here. So let's go for it. I think the most important thing is the preparation before we consider starting a business in Hungary, because if we decided and if we prepared with most of the issues, then I think to establish a business in Hungary is quite quick. So it's not time consuming, but you have to be very well prepared. And then you are not like a table tennis ball, you know, coming and going, coming and going, and trying to put together all the information. So let's think about the technical issues first. And what I think is very important is to have the valid identity documents, which can be, of course, a passport for you if you don't have the ID card, because you cannot have, or a driving license. That can also be an identity document. And if you have the documents about the registration as a third-party citizen, then that also is important. What I think is the alpha and the omega for the establishing business is the registration to the client gate. I don't know whether you have already seen it, but this is a...
Yes.
Pardon?
Ügyfélkapu, yes.
It is ügyfélkapu, exactly. Thank you. And this is the electronic administration portal in Hungary. So I think this is where you start everything and where you can finish everything. And if you don't have this client gate, ügyfélkapu, then I think you are totally lost. So I think if you have the, if you just consider the technical issues regarding the establishment of a new business here in Hungary, that's the first point what you have to deal with, and that's to have an account in the client gate system. how can you make an account? There is a document office in each and every local government has this document office, or Central Office for Administrative and Electronic Public Services. This is the official name of it, but in other way it's called like a government window. Another issue, kormányablak, where you go and then in person you can ask for an account in the client gate system. And if you have that, you need an email address. I'm sure all of you have the email address, and then just a passport. And if you have the username, you just establish a username in the system, and you give your email address, and in each and every time when you receive a message to this system, then an email is sent to you. So you will know that now there is an information waiting for me in the client gate system, and then you can go and have a look and act accordingly. And also this client gate system is used when you would like, for example, to establish a private entrepreneurship. So you can do it with click, click, click. You don't have to go personally anywhere. But if you have already this possibility, then and the residential right, then you can open it very, very quickly. I think to establish a business in Hungary is quite easy, but it's not as easy to close a business. For example, I just started to close a very, very small family business. There were no revenue of this business for some time, so it was just really a tiny company, but it took me at least 6 months to do so. So I think when you think about the establishment of a business, it has to be very prepared and discussed in advance. Okay, so when you have this client gate, I think then you can send messages to the authorities, you can make appointments at the offices of the local government, and you also do the tax returns and submit all the tax reports, and the residency and address card, work permit, and social security can be managed through this client gate system. So I think this is one of the first things what you have to just consider when you think about business in Hungary. Okay, welcome. We have some new participants. And I think I also mentioned it as a technical issue, but it is really useful to find an accountant before we start any business, because he or she can give us advice in many, many issues. And I think to have an accountant is even more important than a lawyer, because the lawyer will help you in a technical way to establish a business, but later on you have to work together with your accountant, and you have to understand the points he or she is mentioning and vice versa. So for both of you, I think it's crucial to understand the business and to discuss what are the minimum requirements of the establishment of this business. Okay, and here are the business issues, and I also included the more detailed description of these business issues a bit later. So just let's run on these issues very quickly. First of all, we have to decide about the type of business. There are different possibilities. One major one is to be a freelancer, private entrepreneur, and the other one is to establish a small company. If you establish a small company, that's the decision. There are different possibilities as well. I will mention the most common one, which is the LTD, Limited Liability Company, or KFT, Korlátolt Felelősségű Társaság in Hungarian. And what is important in this case, that we have to choose a name for this small business. And it is quite obvious, but many times we just found out that, oh, some other businesses has the same name, but we found it out. So it's better to check in advance again in the preparation period. We also will review how much capital is needed to start a business, and what to know about the value-added tax and other taxation issues. And I think, and I mentioned VAT as the value-added tax just as a preparation before we start a business, because when you establish the business, immediately you have to decide about some VAT and taxation issues. So this is why I think it's also useful to have an accountant and get his or her advice. We need a bank account. Most of the cases, I will tell when you don't need a bank account, because all the other cases you need a special bank account for the business. And you have to have a place for registered office, which is really the place for keeping all the documents and which can accept the post and can be a base for the business. And then again, we have to decide about the senior executive of the company, if we establish a company, and so on. So let's turn and discuss some of the most important issues. I think, or I really believe that this is one of the most important questions, that we have to set up a company, or we have to start the freelancing or private entrepreneurship. If you have a limited liability company, I think you can see it even in the name of it, that you have the limited liability. And your liability is only lasts up to the amount you invested into the business. So you are liable for all the damages and obligations only up to the invested amount to the business. So that's the most important advantage of the limited liability company. Why, if you have the private partnership, which is also a form of a company, or you are a freelancer, private entrepreneur, it means that you are liable with all your wealth for the business. What you mentioned, I think, about this home plant business or dancing school or the pastry shop, I think these are not really risky businesses. So I don't think that at the beginning or in the as a first step, it would be very important to just think about that, how much I am liable for the business. But you know, it's really up to the decision, and where do you want to develop. That's also, I think, it's important. I just put together a little table for considering whether to establish a company or go for the private entrepreneurship. So let's review it quickly. The setup time for both cases, I think it's very quick. As I told you, to set up a business, it's just very, very easy. In Hungary, if you have this client gate access, you have the client gate account, it's only, I wouldn't say even this is 1 day, it's even 1 hour. So you just click, click, click. And if you are prepared and if you know the answer for the questions, what do you want to do? Who is the person, with all the data, address, and the activity, the type of the activity, then you can very, very easily establish a freelancing or a private entrepreneurship. It's quite easy also with the companies because we have, or all the lawyers have a preset format. So you don't have to just think about what should be the agreement between the partners in a limited liability company, because they have a preset format. They just write who are the owners and of course all the personal data of the owners if they are persons. But it is possible that another company would be an owner as well. Then, of course, the other company's details or information is needed for the establishment of the business. And then who will be the managing director, how much capital is introduced into the business, and what is the form of the capital which was introduced, and so on and so on. So they have the questions, and immediately if you just answer the questions, the agreement is ready, and it has to be countersigned by a lawyer. So this is why we have here the information that for the registration you need a lawyer if you would like to establish a company, but in terms of private entrepreneurship, you can do it on your own. It's really just click, click, click if you have the client gate access. In both cases, you are allowed to have employees, so it's no problem. As a private entrepreneur, you may have employees, and it is exactly the same taxation and procedure if you have employee in terms of a company, in form of a company, or in form of a private entrepreneurship. You can immediately get a VAT number, both for Hungary and both for the EU. And you have to register the company at the court of registration, which is missing from here, from this table. But you do, of course, because this is not a company, you don't have to register the private entrepreneurship at the court of registration. This is what the lawyer can do only. So this is why you need a lawyer in terms of a company, because the lawyers do the registration through electronic way. So there is they don't have to send papers, or they do it only in PDF format only. You have to register for the Chamber of Commerce. It is compulsory for each and every type of business in Hungary. There is a registration procedure, which is click, click again. So it's nothing, almost nothing, but you have to pay a 5,000 Hungarian forint fee. It's about 15 euros fee in each year. So it's an annual fee of 5,000 Hungarian forint at the Chamber of Commerce, and it is compulsory for the registration. You need a registered seat, I mean the place, the address of the business where you keep all the documents and where you can accept the postal and everything, and when you can be found. another company or person would like to look for you. In both cases, we are going to discuss it a bit later about details. And you need a separate bank account for the company and also for the private entrepreneurship. There is an exception only if you are not under the VAT loan, which I think is below a limit of revenue. And this revenue limit is 12 million Hungarian forint, but I think I will mention it a bit later as well. Here is a capital which should be introduced into the business. The minimum level of capital is 3 million Hungarian forint, and if you establish just a private entrepreneurship, you don't have to invest any money at the beginning. So there is no requirement for that. Officially, here you can see for the accountant that this is not required for freelancing or private entrepreneurship, but I would always say that this is strongly, very strongly recommended. So please, I think as a first step, go and find an accountant even for the private entrepreneurship. In the liability, you can see that there is a limited liability up to the level of the introduced capital in case of the LTD, but you are absolutely fully liable for all the obligations of the business if you are a private entrepreneur. Unfortunately, you need residency to start a private entrepreneurship. So I think if you're just considering, and in most cases, I think private entrepreneurship is absolutely favorable for starting a business, because as a company, you are not able to terminate the business in terms of company. You can or you can terminate at the end of the procedure, but it takes a long time. But in terms of private entrepreneurship, it is allowed just to make a temporary stop of the business. So if you have no income for a couple of months, you can send just the form to the tax authorities, and you are not expected to pay all the taxes and contributions which are normally required as a minimum. So I think this is why the freelancing or private entrepreneurship is very favorable for small and startup businesses, because later on you can establish the company and then you can move your activity into a company. But at the beginning, when you have a lot of question marks and your business is maybe a seasonal business, so you have more work in month one, less in month two, then you can optimize the tax payment. But residency is required for the private entrepreneurship, because they are in the private entrepreneurship, they are liable with their whole wealth for the business. You can choose tax regimes. These are, I think, there are a lot of rules, so I think it would be better to discuss at the end if you have specific questions, or this is the question what you have to discuss with your accountant at the end. And for the big businesses, there are some revenue limits for using favorable taxation methodologies. So these are taxation methodologies like this TAO, this is the corporate tax, and this is a very special one, a little bit less tax payment most of the time, which is absolutely good for those private entrepreneurs who are just providing services or products to private individuals. This is the kata, which is a methodology of taxation, and in this time you just pay exactly the same amount in each of every month, and you don't have to make a huge calculation and a very complicated tax return to fill out. There are also some revenue limits, but at the beginning of the establishment, I don't think that this is a big question. Okay, and let's go and look a bit deeply what is needed at the time of preparation, and what you have to consider, and what are the steps I think it's better to do. So if you establish a company, of course you have to have a name for your company, and but you have to need, or the lawyer who you turn to for the establishment, the lawyer has to check if a business is already listed under this given name or not. If somebody else already used the name, what you found out, then unfortunately you have to choose something different, because it has to be it is possible, it is important to make it available to distinguish between the companies. So if there is another company working already with the similar name, maybe the court of registration will refuse and reject the request of the establishment of the business. So it's very important to think in advance. And if you definitely would like to be sure that this is the name what you have, then you can go for the name reservation. And before you go to the court of registration, it's only 4 or 5 days, so it's a very short period of time. But if you check that there is no name, there is no company with the name you just found out, then you can go to the lawyer and you may ask for a name reservation. So for the rest of the week or rest of the month, you are still considering some preparation work, then nobody will use the name, and then at the time of the company foundation process, there won't be any problem with that. So here is a possibility. But in terms of the private entrepreneurship, you don't have to choose a name, because your name will be the name of the business. So, for example, in my case, if I would establish a private entrepreneurship, it would be called like Eleonora Tarpataki Private Entrepreneurship. Yeah, egyéni vállalkozó in Hungarian, and usually they use the abbreviation of E and V. This is the E dot E. This is the abbreviation for private entrepreneurship after your name. Here is the capital requirement I already mentioned to you, and now I made a calculation for euro. It's about 8,000 euros, this 3 million Hungarian forint. But it's very important to understand that it is possible to establish a company without any cash. So if you would like to introduce into the business a car or something, so some asset, which is called contribution in kind, so which is a non-cash contribution, yeah, contribution in kind. So something which is useful for the business, but you don't want to sell and then introduce the cash into the business. It is possible that instead of cash, you just establish the business with something else. Of course, it has to have a value, and it's good if it's useful for the business as well. So at the time of the establishment, who will be the responsible senior of the company that should take this contribution in kind and accept the takeover through a document. So if you would like to invest a computer, a laptop, a car, or I don't know, but the furnace, if you have a pastry business, maybe, or something which is useful for the business, it is possible, and then you don't have to collect as much cash at the beginning, but this can be also part of the capital. You can do it partially as well. So some cash, some contribution in kind. It's really up to the business and up to you. So this is about the capital requirements, and the registered office where will be the central administration of the business, which is quite easy if you have a self-owned property, but I think most of the time it's not the case. It can be a case if you start a business as a young generation, and maybe you can use the property, the real estate of your parents or something. But if you don't have your own apartment, house, or some property, then you may rent a place for the business. But in case of renting, I think it's very important to discuss with the landlord that or the owner of this property, that you would like to use it for the registered office of your business, even if your business is a private entrepreneurship or it is a company. So if it's a company, then it may have the registration office or also as a private entrepreneurship. So please be sure that if you renegotiate the lease agreement with the landlord, with the owner of the property, then you discuss also that you would like the consent of the owner or the landlord to have this place as the registered office of your small business. There are also possibilities for asking some law offices or accounting offices to provide you a service as a registered office provider. But there were plenty of restrictions in the legislation in the past years. So I think you have to be very cautious. I think most of the time it's absolutely a possibility to discuss with your landlord that you would like this rental property as the place for the business as well. Okay. Here are the registration licenses. I don't know if any of those activities, what you mentioned to me, are under this activity licensing obligation, but you have to check it. There is the statistical number for each and every activity. And this statistical number is issued by the Central Statistics Office in Hungary. It is published in the internet, so you will be able to find it. And you have to find the closest or the one which best describes your activity. Because if you see so, then you will see whether do you need an activity license, do you need graduation, or something is required to do this activity. I can tell you an example. I know that your business is not about that, but if you would like to be a bookkeeper, then definitely you need a graduation and you need a diploma in bookkeeping to do this activity. So I think what is important to check the type of the activity you would like to start the business with, and be sure whether you need a license or not. If you form a company and you would like to start an activity which is subject to a license, then if it's not a foundation license, like for financial enterprises, but you don't want to issue start a bank or a leasing company or an investment brokerage firm, but in those cases, the court of registration is checking whether they have the license to establish a business. But in those cases, which are your cases, when the activity itself requires some license, then the court of registration will register the company. Nevertheless, they have the license or not, but you cannot start the activity until you have this license, or you have to prove whether you have you are allowed to do this activity. So that is the important issue with the registration licenses. Who should be the senior executive? I think in case of private entrepreneurship, it's not a big question, because you are the senior executive of your own business, of your own small business. But you have to decide whether in case of a company, what is the form of having a senior executive. You can employ one, or you can make an agreement, and based on this agreement, you have a legal agent to do so. If you have an employee, if you just point out somebody from your employees, or you are also self-employed in your business, then you need an employment contract with the company. That's all. And of course, in case of employment, you have to notify the tax authorities, and there is a procedure which should be done usually by the accountants or payroll specialists. So sometimes the accountants and payroll specialists are separated. They are not the same business. Sometimes the accountants have the license, because payroll is also an activity. Payroll calculation is also an activity which requires a special license. So you need a graduation for that. And sometimes in the accounting office, the bookkeeping office, they have people with this licensing, sometimes not. And then in those cases, other companies should be appointed as the payroll calculator. So they have to make all this information they have to check with the tax authorities, and also with other authorities, that the employees are registered, and if they register, they can start working, and of course they can be also senior executives of the business. So if we go back, oops, I'm sorry. So if we go back, we were still talking about the preparation, which is necessary before you start a business. And if you just think about all of these issues and you prepare your answer for them, then as I told you, it's very quick. You don't have to go and wait so much time. Of course, the government made it very easy to start your activity, to generate revenue, and of course pay taxes for the government. So it's nice and easy, really. So that's the case. Okay, maybe I just stop for a little and ask if you have any questions or something was unclear, or you may also write it in the chat if you want. I may check chat room.
I have a question. A question about the registered office. If I understand it correctly, that it's not necessary that registered office should be the same place where I plan to make business. For example, I can ask my landlord in Pox to allow me to register this place as an office, but then rent some dance room in Budapest, and it will be not conflict with during the registration. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely no conflict. So if you can, I think this is the example. What you said is the case whether you should decide or you can try, and which is easier for you. If you would like to, or you can try also with your landlord in Paks, or the landlord of the dance room in Budapest, where you would like to take the lessons and the classes. So I think in both cases be a solution, and it's no problem. Maybe I think, or my experience, but this is not official, absolutely. So my experience is that sometimes it's easier to discuss with your landlord in countryside.
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking.
Yeah, I don't know your situation, but I'm from countryside as well. So I lived in the eastern part of Hungary, and the attitude of people is maybe it's easygoing or something. It's easier to.
Yeah, and then I have one more question about these activities. Could you please send us the email or not email, the website where we can see these groups of activities and we can check if it should be licensed or not?
Yeah, I try to find it. I hope it's in English as well, but I don't know. I didn't check it in
Google Translate will help with
okay. You are right. You are right. We are in the 21st century, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I will add it. What I did actually, I included a lot of useful links at the end of the presentation. So you will have a chance to look at them, but I will let Alexandr, I have connection to Alexandr, so I will send him an email with the link to the activities.
Yes,
to find these
sure.
activities.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Yeah, thank you for for the confirmation. So yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions so far? Everything is clear and good. Okay, so then I go back again and continue because I have collected some more, I hope, useful data for you in the presentation, and I hope you can see again. Yeah. Good. So I go back where we stopped, and here are the steps to form a company. So this is these are the steps. You can see only a few steps, so it's not too much. So what is the first step is you have to find a legal attorney, and they will help you to fill out the form. Actually, this form is the constitutive document which has to be countersigned by a Hungarian attorney at law, but this constitutive document, this is how you can imagine that this is a form just to fill out with all the data, that who are the owners, what is the activity you would like to do in the business, how much is the capital you invest into the business, which should meet the minimum requirement of the business in terms of a limited liability company. This is the 3 million Hungarian forint. In terms of limited partnership, there is almost no requirement of that. So this is the form. So you have to have a legal attorney, and then they prepare these articles of association, which is this kind of form, and you have to appoint a managing director for the business who will able to sign all the documents in the name of the business. So they definitely have to be in person with the lawyer. I asked my colleagues who are doing this company formation, and they said that there are some situations which could be considered that you are not in person with the lawyer, but in practically it is not possible. So definitely who will be the managing director and who are the owners, they have to be presented in person with the lawyer's office. So please be sure that they have the appointment. And if there is another company who will be the owner of the business, then and they are not Hungarian companies, then those documents should be notarized and apostilled, which means that you have to go to this special office, special legal office, and then through the embassies, they have the connection, and they can, that is the only situation when they can accept the different company in different country. And then the company is considered as established when if it is admitted to the register of the companies. But as you can see in step 4, if you already signed, so here is a key point for you, the articles of association. If this is already signed by the owners, then you can start your business. Only the important restriction is that when you make a contract or issue an invoice, you have to write that, okay, the name of the company is X and Y, and this is a pre-company status. So you have to sign that this is not already registered, although the registration goes on within 4 or 5 days maximum. But if you would like to begin your operation immediately, you can do it from this point. So this is the key point when you signed it at the lawyer, but then you have to mark it on all the agreements and invoices that you are not already registered, you are in a pre-company status. Okay, but as soon as the lawyer submits the documents to the court of registration, you almost immediately receive the VAT registration number. And if you are a private entrepreneur, then as you do the click, you can do it by your own, the establishment of your private entrepreneurship. And then immediately, within a second, you will receive a VAT number, so you are allowed to start your business immediately because you have the VAT number, VAT registration number, and of course, if you have chosen that you are a VAT payer, then from this point, you have to pay the VAT if you issue any invoice. Okay, so that was step number 4, and step number 5. Yeah, if everything is settled and everything, there is no mistake or they don't miss any documents, then they just do the registration within 1 day, and yeah, I'm sure that it will be a simplified procedure in your cases because it's not a bank or at any other huge institute which should be established by you. And if everything went on and the registration is done, then you have to open a bank account for your business. I would really recommend it for the private entrepreneurship as well, even if you are even if this is not compulsory, if you are not a VAT payer, it means that you are very small. But it's still better to have the business to separate the business money and your own money. So I would really recommend to open a new bank account for the small business as well. And the bank would ask for all the electronic documents about the registration. So because everything goes electronically, as it is registered by the court of registration, then the lawyer receives all the electronic documents. These electronic documents couldn't be read by you as a private person. You need a special program for that, but it's not necessary for you. I think it's only for authorities and also for the banks. And if you have the bank account, then you can transfer the initial share capital, the initial capital for your business, which is about this 3 million Hungarian forint or anything else what you decided at the end, at the beginning or at the time of preparation. So this is the legal procedure, and now I would like just a short introduction into the taxes, if you have no questions. Hi, Diana. Good to see you.
Hello, likewise.
Yeah, good. If you have any questions or something, Julia, I'm happy to answer. If not, I continue with the taxes, and I also collected all these payroll stuff, which are necessary for consideration, because even if you self-employ yourself, these are the payables for you in the future. So let's do the overview of the taxation, some basic taxation in Hungary. We have direct taxes and we have indirect taxes. We have about 40 different taxes. So I am not talking about all the issues. I would like to mention only the most important ones and those ones which are very common, and you will meet them even at the beginning of your entrepreneurship. So here are the direct taxes for companies. There is a corporate income tax, which is a very traditional type of tax. I mean, it exists in many countries. I know that if you have the company during a year, I just realized that you had this series about balance sheet and income statement and the business plans and all of this stuff. And so in the income statement, where you collect all the revenues and expenses of the financial year, and at the end, you realize some profit, then this profit should be the base for calculating the corporate income tax. I would say that this should be the base because the corporate income tax law includes a lot of increasing and decreasing items of the tax base. So this is the first step to calculate the profit before tax in the income statement, and then there are different modifications which may increase or decrease your tax base. And only if you have the tax base, then you have to pay the corporate income tax, which is very favorable right now, and this is 9% in Hungary right now. This is, I would say that we are in tax paradise, and there are some definitions of the tax paradise that the corporate income tax is not higher than 10%. Now it's 9%, so but I wouldn't say that we are living in a tax paradise, but anyway. That this is one. The R&D contribution should be paid only for big companies, not for the small businesses. But the other very common one is the local business tax. Local business tax, now it should be paid to the tax authorities. So we have the tax authorities, and the abbreviation for the tax authorities is NAV. So this is how you can see it. This national tax authorities. But in Hungarian, that's the abbreviation for that. And you pay it also to this central office, but the local business tax then transferred by the central tax office to the local municipalities. So this is the income for the municipalities. And the tax base for local business tax is absolutely different. What is the tax base for the corporate income tax? So you have to calculate it on a different way, but the percentage is 2%, but the tax base is different. So we are not able to compare the two. The other direct taxes are paid by the employers. So if you have employees, then you have to pay these taxes, and this is the payroll, or this can be called as payroll taxes, which is very common. That's the social security contribution. So this one, social contribution tax. And the rehabilitation contribution is only for big boys, for big companies, such like the income tax of energy suppliers, and also the R&D contribution for the big ones. And if you are an employee in a business, even if you are self-employed, then you have the gross salary, and personal income tax and social contribution is deducted from your gross salary, and this is how you get your net salary. We are going to see it deeper a bit later. Okay, so this is what are paid by the employees, but this is also deducted by the employers from the gross salary, deducted by employers. So at the end, the employer transfers the money to the tax authorities. Here are some indirect taxes, what we have to mention. The one is the VAT, or in Hungarian, you will find it in plenty of invoices and in agreements that AFA, which is the value added tax in Hungary, and the general rate for the VAT is 27%. Again, I will come back to this point a bit later. Excise duty or customs duty. Excise duty is for the alcohol and the cigarettes and oils. So this is a special one, and customs duty is for those items which are coming from certain countries. So maybe if you would like to import something from Ukraine, then you can you have to think about customs duty as well. Other taxes, I think what can be important for you is maybe the company car tax. If you plan to have a company car, then there is a special taxation which is based on the size of the engine. I'm not a car expert, but something like in connection with the how strong is your engine is and how it is your car, and plenty of other factors should be considered as well. Okay, so let's see the VAT, and the VAT you can see here that it should be levied on the supply of goods and also provision of services in Hungary. And of course, if you have intra-community, it means within EU, within the European Union. That's the intra-community acquisitions and imports. You can see again the general rate, and there are some favorable rates for some products, which 18% for the bread, milk, and dairy products, and also some more favorable for the internet services, journals, books, medicines, and so on. And some 0% for postal services, medical care, and banking services as well. So that's the these are the rates which are levied on the goods and services. What I think is important for you, this one. So if you have, and during the preparation, this is why it's important to discuss how much income do you plan? Because if you plan less than 12 million Hungarian forint income revenue in a year, then you can choose that you want VAT exemptions. So it is possible that if you just sell only up to small, up to 12 million. So this is the limit. Definitely, this is very strict, and this is not changing right now, or I don't have any news about changing of this. Then you can choose that you would like to start the business with to be not a taxable person regarding the VAT. So you would like to get that VAT exemption. That's very important, I think, because then you can ease your business, ease your way, ease your doing business here in Hungary. Yeah, so I think this is the most important one. These services are the medical and educational services, banking, insurance. This is not your business right now. For the administrative approach, we have to think of VAT that if you start your business and this was the achievement of the past years, that now the VAT can be seen by the tax authorities immediately, because you have to use a software, a special software, if you would like to issue invoices to other parties, which means that this software has to have a direct communication with the tax authorities. So they can immediately recognize that there was an invoice issued, or if you have this cashier, then it has to have the communication with the tax authorities as well. So it's very, very important that if you start a business where you can sell for private individuals or companies, then you need either cash register or a computer with the software which can communicate with the tax authorities. And moreover, at the time of the establishment, if you are not under the VAT exemption limit, which is the 12 million Hungarian forint, then you have to give and provide tax returns monthly for the tax authorities. At this point, you are definitely not able to do that without an accountant, because they do it electronically, and they use another gate for that. Because if you establish a company, now you don't use your client gate, ügyfélkapu, but you are using a company gate, which is cégkapu. So it's again gate still, but for the businesses. So there are quite lot of information which are shared with the tax authorities from different sources. Also, if you receive an invoice from a third party, that invoice was also mentioned and send the information to the tax authorities so they can check immediately whether your tax return, where you just list all of those items where you deduct your VAT, is it a valid invoice or not? So now they follow it very closely, and it's very important to do the tax filing and tax reports in time, because they immediately will act, I mean the tax authorities. Yeah, if there is a foreign business, so this one is also important. So if you don't want to establish a business in Hungary, but you would like to do the activity in Hungary, which is subject to a VAT, which is, if it's not education or medical service or something like that, common education. So it's not like any other courses or such like that, then you have to have a fiscal representative who has joint and several liability for the tax liabilities of the foreign company. So I think you need a huge money to guarantee and provide this fiscal representative to undertake this liability. So it's not easy to appoint someone. Okay, and here is the table what I prepared for you as the personal income tax and social security system. Here you can see what is the minimum wage, what is required by law to provide to an employee. And here is the, of course, it's established in Hungarian forint, but here you can see it in euro, just to have some understanding how much is that. There is another column, which is called guaranteed minimum wage. So if you have an employee, even you as a self-employed, and you are doing the activity, and this activity requires a minimum of medium level graduation, then you have to provide the guaranteed minimum wage. So it's not enough to provide the minimum wage, but you have to have the higher wage for those people whose activity require higher education. Higher means medium level education. I mean, they are a specified professional carpenter, professional shop assistant, professional whoever. So if it's required by law to have this medium level of education, then you have to provide the higher minimum wage, which is called the guaranteed minimum wage. And this is the gross salary. So you can see here in this level that this was the gross salary. So over of this, you have to pay the social contribution tax, which means that your total cost as an employer will be this amount and this one. And also I put one more column, which is what is the average wage. It was announced by the statistical office for the last year. So because of the inflation, it may be even higher, but this is for consideration if you compare the minimum or the guaranteed minimum wage for the employees. But if you are just thinking about yourself, then you have to decide whether your activity requires a medium level education or not. If not, then minimum wage is enough. And the cost of the minimum wage for the business, even if you are a private entrepreneur or a company representative, it would be this amount. Yeah. And here you can see that at the end, if the gross salary is 611 euros, then at the end, the employee can get a net salary of 406 because there are deductions for personal income tax and deductions for employees' contribution, and you have to pay an extra of the social contribution tax as an employer as a business employer. So what to compare? This is the cost for you, and this is what your employee gets at the end. So I think that's important. Okay, so for the corporate income tax, this is the lowest rate in the European Union. I already mentioned to you it's 9%. And in addition to this 9% corporate income tax, you have to pay this 2%. Usually this is 2%. It can be less, but the maximum amount is 2%, but on a different tax base as a local business tax. Again, doesn't matter whether you are a company or a private entrepreneur. It's up to the situation. And some words about the accounting and administration, that once the company has been successfully registered or you established your private entrepreneurship, then here are the steps you have to do as part of the administration. You have to register at the Chamber of Commerce and also the Central Statistical Office, and the subscription for the company gate, and select appropriate invoicing and accounting program, and so on and so on and so on. So there are plenty of other things. And here's are the useful links where you can collect some more detailed information, and some of those links are directing to you to offices where you can turn to and they undertake this company or entrepreneurship formation. Okay, so this is what I planned for today. I know it was overwhelming, a lot of information, but it will be available for you through the recording and also the presentation. So you can come back and have a look. And I don't forget this statistical activities for you to send the link. Any questions, any considerations, any thoughts? Maybe it's just good to talk about something, what is in your mind.
Thank you for your valuable information. It was very interesting and useful. Unfortunately, I couldn't join in the end, but yes, it was interesting.
Thank you. Diana, what type of business do you plan?
I'm planning to establish consulting company.
In which theme? What is the topic?
Providing consulting services in terms of European Union grant fundings.
Oh, that's important, I think. Very important. Good. I don't know if Anastasia is here. We can't hear her, at least. So I think it's not easy, but it's fun at the end. I think the private entrepreneurship is quite useful, but in this case, you need the residency permit. But if you establish a company, then I think you immediately can ask for a residency permit. So maybe it's easier to get on another way.
So temporary protection is not enough, right?
I don't know. I think you have to, but to establish a private entrepreneurship, definitely not. So you need a permanent residency permit, but to form a company, it's no problem. So it seems that although I think that from many points of view, establishing a private entrepreneurship is easier. It's absolutely, it's cost favorable because you don't need a lawyer, you need an accountant, but accountants usually charge much less for the private entrepreneurs than for companies. So I think it can be useful, but I think without a permanent residency permit, it is not allowed to do so, although it would be favorable. But to establish a company, it's not a problem.
But I'm sorry, maybe you mentioned it, but what should be the first step? To get this residence permit or to establish the company?
You can establish the company without residency permit, but you are not allowed to establish a private entrepreneurship without a residency permit. What I learned.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, then if no other questions, then I would really recommend you to join the next meetings with my colleagues from the communication and marketing department, because they prepared with a lot of very, very useful tasks and information. And I think they also will help you to try out several things and to make your strategy and find your customers, and so you will work together. So it's not only a lecture like this one when I talk to you, like, you know, with all these hard stuff, but they prepare with a lot of interaction and involvement of you, and then you can work on your own idea. So as a step-by-step, I think you can get advice from them, and also go with maybe with your web page and some presentation possibilities, communication possibilities. Okay, so I really recommend to join them in the coming days and weeks.
Looking forward. Thank you.
So thank you very much then. And I sent you the link. I don't forget it. And thank you for your attention. Have a
Thank
nice
you very
day.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.